I was getting one pay. Hey, it didn't sit well with me.
Yeah.
Work 30 days and get paid once a month. 4 weeks, once a month. Man, 31 days, once a month. And when you get there, like, you have so many debts, there's rent, there's what, and you have to pay all of them. I was like,
2, 1, action. Bambino,
Yo, what's
the
up?
comedian.
Yeah.
What's up, bro?
I'm easy, my dude. How's it going?
Chilling. So why Bambino the comedian instead of Bambino the artist?
Yeah, I think that started from a very young age. I mean, in my art forms, all the art forms that I do, from the very beginning, I was a comedian.
Yeah.
Much as I knew I had other talents, I was an actor when I was young, but comedy was my actual first love, and this, I started doing it when I was like, 15, 14?
Yeah.
And so I think that's why comedian, that's why the name was stuck on.
Bambino the comedian.
Yeah.
Because you do like 100 other things.
Yeah, I mean, I'll highlight that as well. I do quite a lot. I wear many hats.
Yeah.
If you know me, you know.
You wear many hats.
But yeah, I think first and foremost, my first love really is stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
Which I've been doing for a very long time. I think now since 2015. So which puts me on like I think beginning of 2023. I'll be doing my 18th year of doing stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
So that is super really cool, and I also gained some skills along the way. I joined the acting drama department. Well, not department, like the drama groups from back in the day. I remember in school, I was in school in Mogoditani Junior Secondary School.
Yeah.
And that was the first time I was part of a drama group. In primary school, there was no particular drama group. There was just plays that we would do,
Yeah.
And I did a couple of those as well. But, I then did acting basically. I started acting in community groups and for different projects. I remember we did a project for ABSA, which was Barclays at the time.
Yeah.
And it was, it was called Pula Money Matters. Which later developed into now what we know as the radio drama Madi Majwana. So from there as well, I learned that when we were doing Pula Money Matters, I learned that I'm good with my voice.
Yeah.
And so, I started doing voice work. So now from the stage play, we moved on to the radio drama.
Yeah.
And I was still able to portray it. And, from then, I was working with a very good friend of mine called Tato on the Pula Money Matters play. And he happened to work for an agency at the time, a creative production agency, which, basically, he invited me to do an ad. I don't even remember the first ad I ever did. But yeah, I remember pulling through for an ad and I recorded it. I killed it. And I've never looked back since. So now then... so basically I have stand-up comedian, I have actor, and then I had voice actor on there, right?
Yeah.
And then, those were the main things that I did until I joined a dance company as well called Sky Blue Dance Hub. And next thing you know, I was a contemporary dancer. I mean, I think that also came from having worked with a gentleman called Aldo Brinkat. He was a drama teacher at Westwood. So I'd done a play with him. That was the very first amateur play that I did. I think this was 2012. I did that play with him. This was 2012, and from there, I got to meet quite a lot of creatives locally.
Yeah.
I worked with Mopato, and then from Mopato, they realized my love for being a creative. From there, one of the dancers from Mopato had actually branched out and created her own company, which is Sky Blue. That's how I then became a contemporary dancer, and so now I had at that point a stand-up comedian, I had actor, I have voice actor and voiceover artist, because it's two different things.
Yeah.
Voice actor and voice over artist, and then I also had now dancer, which I've since, sort of moved back from, the bones don't allow these days.
It's just catching up.
Yeah, I used to do vocals now, just thinking about one. I can do one, but it's half a vocal because I can only go down.
It's just a vo.
It's just a vo. I can't go up. I since left that. And, at the time I was studying software engineering, but, I realized, my passion is in the creative space. So I moved to studying live performance. So I joined 2015 the institution Africa Film and Drama Academy, which is AFDA. It was opened in Botswana, and I jumped at the opportunity, got onto there, and I started a degree in live performance. And I think it was in great line with what I was doing anyway. It felt very right and appropriate. So now I also gained skills. I mean, in there I was training to be a live performer, but there's so many other modules within the course that teach you other different types of skills, like videography or cinematography, rather, how they call it, when you're there. And then there's learning all the different departments. There's there's the narrative department, which is basically writing, creative writing, and just directing, really. And then we had the performance department, which is about actors, whether stage or on screen, learning about that. Then we had the aesthetic department, which was basically the production, the art production, the art department. This is how people dress when they're performing, how you dress the set, how you do all those things. And we also had the medium department, which was basically camera work, equipment that you use, and the editing and everything that comes with that. And then we had the control, which is basically coming at film or TV from a producing perspective. So we learned all of those aspects, and so from there, one of the main ones that really caught my eye was camera work. But I figured I wasn't really a huge fan of operating the camera, but I liked what it showed me. So I figured, it worked better for me to be a director. And so I joined, or rather I just pursued my passion for being a director. When I was starting off, it was mainly for just film. And then I jumped onto TV as well. I think, so essentially then I put on another hat where I was a film director and a TV director, because those are two different things. So film direction was mainly for movies, like films. Where you can have, I remember when we were still at school, we started off by doing, as a collective of students, there was like 10 of us, we put together a small little production company called Isaho. Isaho Ntle, rather. And then Isaho Ntle created a film, and we entered it into the 48-hour film project, and we won like 4 awards, imagine. Wow. So, like I was saying, small creative production company, Isaho Ntle. We put together this beautiful production called Go There, and we got like 4 awards. If I remember well, we got like audience favorite. We got the award for audience favorite out of all the films. And mind you, this is everybody in the film industry in Joburg who has entered. So from professional to amateurs to intermediate filmmakers, we got the audience favorite. We also got the award for Best Student Cinematography. And then we got, I think, runner-up for Best Edit, but from a student category. And we also got, there's another one that we also got, but we got 4 awards, and that didn't, basically, it actually just fueled us even more to try just do more production. So now my love for film really grew. And so now I think my hats now, as it stands, I'm a stand-up comedian, first and foremost, love of my life. I'm a voiceover, I'm an actor, actually. I'm an actor, both stage and screen acting, trained professionally as well. And then I'm a voiceover artist, both also trained professionally as well. A voiceover artist meaning also I do like voice ads, and I do voice acting. So I will do your, the what's the name of our podcast again? 20th Avenue podcast. I can do an advert and tell you about the 20th Avenue podcast. I can do all of that, and I can also act in my voice. So I do, quite a lot of things with my voice. Because I used to sing as well back in the day.
And they actually released a song recently.
Hey, getting to that. I'll just get to that now. So back in the day, I used to be part of choir, when you're growing up and you're in church, I was part of a choir. And I elevated so much, I became a choir master at church, actually, for a couple of years. And that was
Do you still go to church?
Not as much, man. Not as much. Hey, man, there's this thing about growing up, dude. Like, I don't know. I don't know if it's priority.
You tested the joys of Gaborone.
Yeah, you see now, Gabs
Yeah.
don't do you things.
Yeah. And also, like, apparently girls love funny guys.
You see now, this guy. This guy. Yes, they do. They do. I mean, hey, man, everybody really loves funny guys. Like, it's even with guys, it's a thing. Like, when there's a funny guy around, there's giggles, there's chats, there's nice conversation.
Apparently, guys love guys with money. Apparently,
So it's a two-way thing. So girls love guys who are funny.
Yeah.
And then guys love guys with money.
Yeah.
Because Marek, you know?
Yeah. Apparently, you'll be laughing hard when the Marek is like saying all the lame jokes and stuff.
Like, knock, who's there? Who has the money?
Yeah.
Who has the money?
So before you continue, I actually wanted to ask you, like, for a Kalanga kid,
Yeah.
what were they saying at home when you decided to leave software engineering for the creative world?
It was a very tough decision, my dog. I won't even lie.
Yeah.
First of all, the fact that I did comedy was not like a thing in my family. You know, I was like, what? Okay, sharp. But they realized that I enjoyed it, and I wouldn't let it hinder my schoolwork.
Yeah.
It was only up until I think when I was growing up, I think, when I got to varsity, I think from my point, honestly, it was just a lazy sort of, approach to life. I didn't study as much as I should.
Yeah.
And I actually, I failed and discontinued at school.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't that I wasn't even smart. I mean, I was capable of doing what we're doing at school. I think it just wasn't sitting right with me. So I left that. So when I FD'd, my parents actually paid for me again to go back. Now they paid for me again. Listen to this. So I now start going to work for my dad. Right?
Yeah.
Now I start earning a salary. Yeah. I never knew that a salary is nice. Yo, my dog.
Yeah.
Salary is nice. So now I'm coming back from having learned that a salary is nice and it's actually more, and you have more free time, sharp.
Yeah.
And I go back to school. The course just still wasn't flowing with me, I was like, my dog, this thing is not going to work. So I FD'd again. And when I did this time, I think it was very intentional. The first time I was really just playing. The second time it was somewhat intentional because I really just didn't want to do this thing anymore. Sharp. Now you go back home.
Yeah.
Now you see when you go back home and like it the second time, now you're just you're just chilling.
Yeah.
It never looks good.
Yeah.
So I needed to make this creative thing work for me. I needed to, being a stand-up comedian, being a creative, the income needed to make sense. I mean, I remember there was a time my parents had just recently built a house, so they moved out of the old house to move to the new house.
Yeah.
And when they did, they left me in the old house.
Yeah.
How really? When they were moving to the new house, I have two little brothers. When they were moving to the new house, my oldest is married, right?
Yeah.
There's only 3 bedrooms.
Yeah.
These 3 bedrooms, it's my parents' bedroom and my 2 little brothers' bedroom.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not counted in this one.
Yeah.
So clearly I'm being, somewhat
slowly
just being kicked out. I'm like, I picked it up sharp. I got left there in the old house sharp. Now being left there, you start also realizing, man, life is not as smooth. When you've had the comfort of your parents. There's a guy who said one time, I think he passed on, he used to act in Rhythm City. It was his character's line. He said, you learn to stand on your own 2 feet pretty fast when you don't have a safety net.
Yeah.
And that was very profound. It's crazy because I heard that statement right around then. And I figured, man, I need to stand up. So this is now when I started taking stand-up comedy seriously. I was doing shows. I was doing weekly shows. I was pushing out corporate spaces. Making sure that I get all the voice ads that I've done, that I could possibly do. Learn to work with my voice, change it up and down. I'm also a dancer this side. I'm acting this side. So much that at a point now I was overworking myself just to try to prove that this thing is possible,
Yeah.
And fortunately when the school came, when after it came through, and now it simplified a lot of things because at least now I could do all of this work, but also get expertise where I could apply knowledge that, would make sense, professional knowledge where I can actually get into the industry. So yeah, man, having to convince my parents, took me basically just failing. And after failing, having to prove to them that, okay, I can make this thing happen. It took me now, because I think they were trying to show me, dog, like there's no safety net now.
Yeah.
There's no, mama put a 10 kula airtime for me.
Yeah.
There's no, hey, Papa, I need money for transport. Can you? No. It's like, I need to make it work. I remember, like, walking was an option now.
Yeah,
I used to
it was an
walk-
option.
Yeah, it was an option, like an
Yeah.
open option. Like,
Yeah.
I remember I used to walk from Block 3 all the way to Maruapula School because that's where theatre performances would be happening. And, you know, when you're not paid yet,
Yeah.
you still need to get there. So, you know, that took a lot of dedication to just make sure it happens that way. But yeah, man, I think they sort of let me stand on my own 2 feet after realizing that, you know what, you're grown, my man. If you want to do that, do that. Yeah, then take it over. And it took a while until now they started, you know, even coming through to my shows, realizing that I can travel because of my comedy. I can just doing, you know, like, okay, first of all, the traveling one, and then not just traveling locally, traveling internationally, you know, doing a show in Lesotho, doing a show in Soweto, in Joburg, in Pretoria, you know, and for them it was like, okay, maybe there's something there.
Yeah.
And they started heavily
But did they
supporting
sit you down at some point, about, hey, later, like, don't you think like it's time you went back to school? Go and look for a job now.
Yeah, actually, that makes sense. But you know, they never did.
Yeah.
I think because I kept myself so busy in this that they didn't feel the need to tell me what to do.
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? If this guy, he will learn for himself type missions. He will learn. If the best you can do is just tell him, my dog, you need to have an income.
Yeah.
And I mean, the mini sit downs would be when you're driving with your mom. You know, when you're driving with your mom and there's no escape, and then in the car she's like, so are you serious? You're going to be making people laugh for a living?
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, but you know, it's not only that I do this and this and this and this and that as well. So I'm not only going to be making people laugh. At least I'll have multiple streams of income.
Yeah.
And for her, she was like, okay, yeah, but just remember, dog, like, if you need a job, you might as well like get a 9 to 5. And that's one thing that never really worked for me. I was never able to have a 9 to 5. Well, I mean, I did have a couple of them, but they weren't as, you know, they weren't as satisfactory. I don't know if that's the word. They weren't as satisfying to me as, you know, I'd have liked them to be. And, you know, the fact that I was getting one pay, it didn't sit well with me. Work 30 days and get paid once a month. 4 weeks, once a month. 31 days, once a month. And when you get there, like, you have so many debts, there's rent, there's what, and you have to pay all of them. I was like, And the fact that you're working every day, like Monday to Friday, 8 to 5, you know, like, it just didn't sit well with me. And I figured with the type of work that I do, I work very flexible hours. And, you know, because now I'm a young professional in my own right, I've done a bit of business engagements here and there. Now I understand business. So I understand that, of course, much as I'm not a very 9 to 5 person, I need to be able to understand that my clients are 9 to 5ers. So I need to work within those scopes as well, work within those boundaries as well. But now it also allows me to also work at my own pace. You know, as a creative, creating is not it's not an easy. For lack of a better comparison, I can't compare to your math. When I'm doing math, it's like straightforward things like 1 + 1 is 2. If there's equations, it's still within a particular form. But with creatives, there's a certain level of bending rules, understanding so many other things, dynamics. If I want to be a corporate MC, I'm an MC as well. I forgot to say.
Yes.
Wear too many hats. I'm an MT. So yeah, basically the hats that I wear, just to highlight them one more time. I'm a stand-up comedian. I'm an actor. I'm a voiceover actor. I'm a television and film director. I'm an MC. I'm a corporate MC.
So how do you manage to balance all those heads?
Fortunately for me, but unfortunately for the industry, the creative space in Botswana is not as big, right? So you find that opportunities don't come up as often as one would like them to be. I mean, if it was according to me, I wouldn't mind being a stand-up comedian, like 24/7 type missions, just knowing that I'm doing stand-up comedy as long as it paid, right? But you find that even the comedy gigs, they'll probably come like once in a week, or maybe like twice in a month. So that means for the rest of the 27 days I'm not working, or 25 days I'm not working. So now you find that if I'm able to just time my things, right, I can do best. I know that my MCing somewhat goes hand in hand with my stand-up comedy. So when I'm performing, I can just do a stand-up comedy performance, or I can be an MC. When I'm an MC, I'll also do a bit of comedy as well. And then if we plan out a whole schedule. The good thing about doing film, for example, or TV, we schedule things like, okay, guys, we're shooting Monday to Friday, but in those Monday to Fridays, there's a producer who'll set everything up. These are the times that are available. This is what scene we're going to be shooting. And after this whole breakdown, I look at it, okay, sharp. I see if I have any edits or add-ons to the production schedule. Sharp, as soon as it's complete, now I know that, okay, Friday afternoon I'm free. So if I have a gig on Friday, I can maybe excuse myself from that gig and do this, right? And if I have a voiceover gig, I can either, just go to the studio. I'm in and out in about 15-20 minutes. Unfortunately, because of experience as well, 15-20 minutes maximum, really. I can just get there, do 2 takes. The guy just says, okay, let me just maybe call client to find out if it's good, and then we do that. So it's mainly about scheduling my things. But like I said, unfortunately for Botswana, it's a bit of a small industry. But fortunately for me, that then allows me to be as versatile as I possibly can be, or as versatile as I want to be in the spaces that I operate in. Also, multiple streams of income. That's the main thing that I'm trying to look at. If I can make it like a tupula at comedy, make a tupula at the film, make a tupula at the voiceover ads, make a one pula, they bring it all together. It's a decent package which I can call a salary, or maybe like proper payment, which I can also just be bankable, because that's one of the worst things you ever go through when you're a creative. You're not easily bankable.
So speaking of the Botswana industry being small, I'm sure you're also trying to say that it's not excelling because of the size, it's of its size and the way the system is being handled. What would you say is holding the system from excelling?
I was talking about the unfortunacy of the smallness of the industry. You find that we don't have a big market to sell to. Only 2.5 of us, and I remember we had a conversation with DSTV at some point, MultiChoice. They were talking about how we need to start thinking, just cross border, because we always just think when I'm selling a product, I'm selling it to Botswana. Understand what it is, like over 4-5 million Tswana speaking people in South Africa, including Sotho and Bedis. They understand the language as well. So I think, because a lot of us are confined within the country, are confined within selling locally, we stifle the growth of the industry itself. And I think the other thing is we don't strive to compete internationally. As long as I'm beating, if the 20th Avenue podcast, if I'm the best in Gabs, I'm cool with that. We have that thing, but you should be striving to be, the best in the region, in Southern Africa. Be the best in Africa. Be the best in in the world. So I think the fact that we somewhat really try to compete on what we would call a small stage. I'll speak about so many other aspects of it as well, even from stand-up comedy. I find that some comedians would be doing stand-up comedy only in Setswana, and you forget that sometimes you might be invited to Swaziland and they don't understand Setswana. Invited to Zimbabwe, invited to Zambia, and if you can't do your skill in those languages, you find that it might be limiting for you. So you find that people get comfort in just chilling around and being around here. And one thing that I've tried to just do for myself and trying to differentiate myself from all the other creatives that are out there, is try to be as international as I possibly can be. Just recently I had a show in Zimbabwe. I was performing at the Kwantutu Comedy Festival in Kwabulawayo, and it was a roast. It was called the Roast of Africa. And it featured comedians from there was a comedian from South Africa, Swaziland, Lesotho, Zimbabwe, Zimbabwe. Did I say Zimbabwe? Yeah. Zambia and me from Botswana as well. And that was like it was a beautiful experience in itself. And because we had so many countries in one place, that meant networking, which this December 2022 December. Saw me getting invites in South Africa to come perform because of that performance, getting invites in Swaziland to come perform. Unfortunately, I couldn't make them because I'd already scheduled my events for the December, but just trying to be on that international footprint. Zambia is pushing its Zambezi, footprint quite across. If you're a filmmaker, it's ideal to find ways to link with them, see how you can put yourself out there such that, the industry itself can grow. Because I think my main thing, maybe let me just say it this way and just trying to narrow it down. I prefer the art selling itself than it getting great support to grow. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, I get you. Yeah.
Where I'm at, it's like you find that as theater practitioners, I love it when the art itself, as theater practitioners or as comedians, I'd love to do a show without sponsors.
Yeah.
And it making me back the money that I deserve. Yeah. The money that I've worked hard for. And everybody else is part of the crew, from the lighting to the camera to everybody getting their money's worth as well. Like, their value's worth. And without needing a sponsor. So now that is the craft itself selling itself. Yeah. Yes, the sponsors then boost, they support because they're part of the marketing. This is how then, it grows. But I'd greatly love for the art to sell itself without having to get support. Because I feel like if the art just keeps on getting support and, the art is not growing, then what's the point? So, then clearly, imagine Savannah sponsors comedy in Botswana and then maybe half of the comedians in Botswana are not pushing the international boundary. That's going to be a bit of a challenge for them because they're trying to spread a footprint, especially because Botswana is like only less than 2,500,000 people. Yeah. It's very hard to sell that big product here. So they need things that they can also export externally, to other clientele, So yeah, I don't know if I'm making sense, but yeah, that's essentially what I want to say.
But my question is, are we not good enough to be exportable, like to be consumed by the audience from from outside the country? Because look at Jamaica. Jamaica is a very small island, but ragga and reggae music is being consumed across the world.
Yeah, that's essentially what it is. You see, now, I think maybe just to answer the first question, we are good enough to be exported.
Yeah.
But I think there's a certain level of fear being exported. Much as everybody wants to go and perform in Malawi, people then get scared. I'm like, hey, Malawi is also far type, and you forget about all the opportunities that you could get from just doing that traveling,
Yeah.
We are good enough. It's just that the other thing is also people don't invest on the creative growth. We really need to invest in our creative growth such that, when, even when everything else is not going right, you can at least hold the album and say, if it's music, and say, but this thing is fire. Yeah. Maybe it just didn't get the right marketing. Maybe it didn't have a budget to do the right thing. Oh, my phone is ringing. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Why are you gonna send a message? I told them I'm on a podcast. I'm on the 20th Avenue podcast.
Yeah.
Why are you calling me?
No, maybe they want to feature on the podcast.
No, you can't just call me like that. But yeah, you find that it's it's easier. When you've invested enough in the craft such that nobody can doubt it.
Yeah.
So, it would be annoying to say, people are not getting enough actors on these major platforms. Maybe DSTV is not, employing actors. And then when they say, okay, go. And then you get there and then you're just, hey, what are you doing? And it's like, oh, your acting is horrible.
Yeah.
It would really suck. Yeah. But if, we practice enough and do what we have to do such that even when the opportunity comes, we take it by the horns. This is why you find that a few people actually make it externally, even from Botswana. It's because those are people that actually value and invest in their crafts as well. Yeah. So.
I get you. And then coming back home locally, do you think that the creative industry is getting enough support? Because also the creative industry plays a role in the economy structure.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. The question is it getting enough support or is it growing?
Is it getting enough support
Aha,
from relevant authorities?
Authorities.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's getting support.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's the right support. In this way.
Yeah.
So, you know, like, let me try give you an example. It's like when you say maybe you're with your father and you're like at home, ne? And he's like, you tell him, hey, Papa, I don't know how to ride a bicycle. And then he tells you, you see, a boy needs to work hard. You need to go and karola there, and then after you karola, I'll give you 10 pula because you know it will benefit you. And I'm like, no, but I still need to know how to ride a bicycle.
Yeah.
No. Why not if you karola and then go around the house?
Yeah.
I'll give you this 10 pula. Why not just you see I feel like the support is misdirected and is somewhat misinformed. I don't know if that's the right phrase I want to use, but because you find that money is being. I'll give you an example. I feel like I hope I don't get into trouble for saying this, but like I'll give you an example. The presidential day competitions, which are now called the national. Is it the national arts competitions? Yeah. Which I've loved and I'm a product of them. By the way, I did a show. Well, I did one of the competitions just once. I never won it. And the regionals, I got position 3.
Yeah.
And then I stopped competing because I figured, hey, my craft, I'm not a big fan of competing because I feel like it stifles art. But, so yeah, that was the first time I did that and I never did it again. I've since judged. I've since emceed it. I've since done so many things. But, one thing, we still have the same criterion when it comes to judging stand-up comedians.
Yeah.
From 2008. So it's like comedy hasn't grown since 2008 to date.
Yeah.
We still say we'll do workshops, and those workshops they never really come to fruition.
Yeah.
And the thing is, no, put together proposals, guys, and then bring them to us as maybe say the government will help you guys, and you do that, and then they just keep quiet as well.
Yeah.
Until the next competitions and they're like, yo, Bambino, I want you to come and judge. You're going to be judging people based off of a criterion which was created in 2008.
Yeah.
You see, so that stifles growth in itself. So you find that the support is there. They're really trying to like, okay, comedians, this is what we're going to do for you. And there's very little to no consultation with comedians to see what the actual space is.
Yeah.
Like, as a stand-up comedian right now, I can tell you that there are many comedians who only do stand-up comedy twice in a year. And those 2 times are when they're at the regional competitions for the national arts competitions and when they are at the finals. And there are those that don't even qualify to the finals.
Yeah.
So they'll do just the one.
And that's enough.
And that's it. And with comedy, it's like any other muscle. You need your brain to be smart. People need to know I need to practice. There's a reason why I do shows every week. It's so that I practice. I learn how to be witty. I learn how to be, I already have the skill, but I need to know why people didn't laugh the last time I said this.
Okay.
How can I change it to be? So people need to invest in their art in that way, personally. And also, the rightful authorities need to find out, like do the research, just find out how should we do this thing? How should we advise? How can we help you guys?
Yeah.
And it should not be just just hire gang stands and sound speakers and just give us floor hall and give us money. No, it should be, dude, we have a show. Now before the show, 2 weeks before then or 3 weeks before then, we need to have a sit down with the comedians to make sure that everybody is at par.
Yeah.
If they need advice with certain things, so that the thing becomes a success, So I feel like I'm just ranting on right now. It's like I'm talking from a frustrated point. But
So in other words, you're saying that the local comedians, they're not taking the craft seriously.
1. 2, the rightful parties that need to also support, that wish to support, they don't put in, the right kind of support.
But
and by the way, I'm not saying all comedians. Some comedians, like I'm saying, the fact that if somebody's watching and they're a comedian and they've only ever performed in the presidential competitions, they don't take that craft seriously. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. So don't you think it's high time maybe you guys as comedians at your own association, like which handles everything?
Yeah, it exists. There's an association called Comedy for the Nation of Botswana, Kofonabo.
Okay.
Yeah, like for creators, we didn't have a good name there. Kofonabo. It's not Kofonabo.
No, it's actually explains that you guys are comedians. Your lives are not structured properly.
So it does exist, and it has all of these things. But like I'm saying, you find that we still struggle with the same things, the same issues of, we'll put together certain things, we'll submit them accordingly to the rightful people, but it would still maybe take a while to just, you see things to coming to fruition, And, it has done things as well. I mean, I think we have our annual AGM. We had our AGM. I think we had one last year, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
I was supposed to have one this year. I think it has been postponed to next year. So that all comedians can meet, we converge, we see how we move the thingy forward,
Yeah.
And but besides that, I feel like the association will help and it will benefit everyone, and there'll feature comedians in it. But more than anything, it's for the craft to be taken seriously, for the crafts. And I feel like I'm talking about stand-up comedy, but even all the other hats that I wear, some take it just a bit more seriously than others. Especially in the space that I'm in. But
but still on comedy though. Have you guys locally, I'm glad you have an association. Have you has any of you guys been in trouble with maybe the politicians, the government, for saying certain types of jokes?
Sadly, you know what? In Setswana, we're generally just not allowed to. It's making fun of elderly people or making fun of high-ranking people. It's very shunned upon. It's so bad that you'll be at a show, or maybe let me say at a corporate event, and then you make fun of the CEO. And then the CEO doesn't mind and he's having a good time. And then maybe the head of HR is like, this is so unacceptable. This boy should never come back here again. And, that's the problem. And maybe it's because they don't understand humor in that way. So you find that that's the fear. And you don't have enough, clients as it is. As it stands right now. So you're not going to have clients. And now you're losing, and it dwindles, literally, slowly, LA just goes down. All your clients literally start just leaving you because you're saying things that are controversial.
Have you ever had such an experience?
Myself, no. I think, the fortunacy with me, I've always just been somewhat of a kind human being. I've been a soft comedian. I push boundaries, but I only push boundaries when I'm doing a comedy show at a bar. Doing a comedy show, when it's it's like somewhat of a free space. But in formal spaces and formal setups and bigger shows, you try to avoid a lot of those things. Well, I try to anyway, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I just try to do that because investors, my dog, my clients, if I make fun of some mom who got fired from this organization because of a sexual scandal, and I'm making fun about it, and it's so in a public platform. It's good. I can do that in a bar, like I'm saying, in a pub event, in a pub show, in a pub comedy show. But doing it on a big show, a big scale show, that means literally everybody's aware that Bambino thinks this about this guy. And sadly in Botswana, it's very shunned upon to do that. You do that once, the once is enough for you to just be gotten rid of.
But the likes of Dick Nash, bro, they've never had ceilings.
But you see, that's the one thing that he does so beautifully as an inspiration even to me. Dick Nash knows how to I don't even know if that's the word. He knows how to use mahokwabu hika. Like innuendo. I don't even know what the word I'm trying to say is, but he knows how to mold words. He can sound like he can put his statements in such that he can have deniability. He can say, no, I wasn't talking about you. So I remember there was a time, I think it was on radio, talking about something about protectorate there when I watching go, and everybody knows exactly what he's talking about, but it's so subliminal in the way he's saying it that there's no sort of legal thing that you can say you can put against him, but you would know what essentially he's talking about. But also he has been in the game for a very long time. When you have already secured your footprint, I find it's quite easy to say what you can. For me, I don't even have like property yet. All I have is like there's my car and
your bunch of heads,
my computer and my 2 million hats. So the last thing I would want, especially as a creative, is to have offended somebody who could be my next client. I think that's I'm basically coming from a very pessimistic perspective. I don't know if that's the word for it. Pessimistic. Like I look at the glass as half empty. As compared to being half full.
Okay.
But I'm still an optimist though. I'm not. It's not to say I'm not an optimist.
No, I get you. But with over the years also, like we've seen like other forms of comedy coming up, emerging, and comedians such as Mjamaica and Yeah. But what's your take on that? What is it called? That type of comedy?
No.
Sketches.
Skit comedy, sketch comedy, Vine comedy. There's a lot of different types of comedy. That's one thing I've got to learn from a very young age. That comedy differs. It has so many facades. Even in stand-up comedy, there's slapstick. There's one-liners. There's satirical comedy. So I've always known that there's different types of comedy. It just so happened that with these guys, by the way, the guys you just mentioned, your Jamaicas, your Motsetse rappers, these guys are very talented. That's one thing I should be very admitted of. And then they also got into the space where the global village was, being nurtured. Us being very international, us having access to everyone. And, videos were literally the trending thing. I remember Juju Vine, I think, I don't even know if he got his name from the Vine era. I think he may have. Because he was a Vine comedian, he used to do Vines, and there's your Jamaicas as well, and he was doing just funny skits, and they caught on. And the thing about it is there's consistency as well. They do quite great work. It has grown, it has proven that it works so much that Juanana are even way more international than I am. I used to be an inspiration to your Motsetse rappers. But right now he's my inspiration in that the guy has pushed leaps and bounds. So I don't have like anything against them. I don't have hate for them. Johnny Pule and Tricks are guys that I work with very closely. They do that as well. I have no problem. I've done a couple with them as well. It's just that I think it wasn't one of the biggest things that I wanted to do. But I think I'm probably 2023 I'm going to be doing a lot of that. Just to expand my footprint as well, because my clientele, you find that they also want somebody with reach, and I haven't had the most numbers for a very long time. I've been able to just survive properly. I've had food, I've had I've been able to just buy myself a couple of assets through just me with my 2,000 followers. Until recently, a video that I did of an interview, I did a joke. It just went wild. And for the first time, I reached 10,000 likes on Facebook and followers, and I was like, what? How is this possible?
But how do you even conceptualize these jokes? I was supposed to have asked this
No, it's because I was explaining to you. You know what? Jokes, the thing about jokes is you get to learn patterns. It's like I'll give you an example, like poets. Poets Baswan. You get to practice it enough times to know enough words that rhyme. It's like being a rapper. You have to know the rhyme, so you have to know so many words until you get it right? Until it becomes second nature. So with me, similar thing. I've been doing comedy for so long, it becomes simple to just think of a joke or, curate something that is worthwhile, that is worth an audience's ears, But of course, it's inspired by any and everything around me.
Yeah.
Right now I'm in a podcast setup and it's so beautiful. For those that don't know, like we're in a podcast, it looks, see how it looks so cool right now? Yeah, behind here it's a whole entire mess, you know? It's a whole entire mess. Same thing with a joke.
Yeah.
You'll find that there's a whole entire mess behind this joke, but when it gets up onto the stage, it's well polished, it's well nourished, and you know, people will see now the beautiful product that I've put together. And it takes a while, you know. Like I'll give you an example. The joke that I did on BTV, I think I'd been working on that joke. The first time I did that joke was in 2014. Yeah. I wrote it in 2014. I've been developing it. It has developed so much. It has gotten better.
Which joke? What does the joke say?
Oh, this guy. So the inception of the joke was I don't even know. I remember I was in a combi. I was from a rehearsal, a theatre rehearsal, and I was going to do a competition called the Soul Food Comedy Contest. And I had a couple of jokes that I wanted to do, but I felt like they weren't strong enough, right? Yeah. And then on my way, so I'm leaving a friend's house who were doing the theatre sort of rehearsal. Yeah. From phase 4, or block 9 rather. And on the way, this idea hits me. It's like, I don't know where it was, what is inspired it. I'm trying to remember, but it's so far back. So it's basically, it's like, you know, differentiating things is normally a very funny thing. When you comparison in comedy, is normally very funny. Whether you're comparing things that are alike or that are unalike, right? And then I figured, I think there was a couple of descriptions that had come forth about Makalaka, and I came up with this idea. You know what? I could say there's 4 types of Kalanga people. I think I had like 3 in the beginning, 3 types of Kalanga people. There's Kalanga by, I think I had Kalanga by association, and I had Kalanga by Dumbu. So I think those are the first 2. It's like I think I now remember it. It was inspired by the friend. You know, so now Kalanga by association, you are Kalanga. You know, have you ever like been associated with Kalanga so much? Or like maybe you have lived with them, just been assimilated. You've been with them so much now you become assimilated into the Kalanga setup. You know, so that's the first type. So now I'll explain there's 4 types of. You know, basically over the time it has gotten from just those 2 types to being. There's now 4 types of Kalanga people that you can think of. There's Kalanga by association. Have you ever been associated with so many Kalanga people that you now start, like literally when you're walking, even somebody that knows you from Buchudi and says, "Hey, my dog, how you doing, man?" Uncle, you know, like it's like what? What do you say? So, oh, hey, you know, then there's Kalanga by default. I remember how this add-on came on. It was about default settings. It was like there's like, you know, default settings, like resetting your phone. I remember this how I edited default settings, phone, reset phone to default settings. Sharp. Have you ever seen somebody who seems like they've been reset to default settings? And they're Kalanga. Yeah, like the settings, the original settings. Those are the real Kalangas. You can see with the big nose, with the big ears, with the big lips. Yeah, you see this one is Kalanga pure. He's the default settings are set to him. He has the muscles. I feel like this guy looks like me, man. I don't know if you guys should be able to see this guy. If you can't look him up, he's the guy interviewing me right now. Do me he's Kalanga. I swear. If he's not, he's lying to us. If anything, he's Kalanga light.
Kalanga light.
He's just somewhere there. You know, so then there was Kalanga by profession. And you know, professionally I was like, okay, sharp, how do I then infuse this? Now, that's when I included abilities. You know, like when I say you see a professional footballer, you see him walking, jumping up and down, you can say, this guy's a professional, right? Sharp. So now what are the abilities of a professional? They're normally very fast. So it's like, it's a guy who knows how to hamala pani really fast. Bucket full. You know, I can take up hand. So now this is the joke still developing, right? Then there's Kalanga by Dumbu, which this word, I think I liked it because it also spoke back to being Kalanga, Dumbu, and you know, also trying to kill the stereotype of, you know, of people saying Udumbu and actually, and then people feeling bad about it. And it's like, no, Udumbu, nage Dumbu. And you can take pride in that until, you know, we diffuse that sort of word to it not meaning anything, you know, derogative or anything. And see, now, like, you know, there's more elements that then came onto this joke as well. There's, you know, the way Kalanga speak. These are just me developing into these. Because I remember even at the time when I was doing the Soul Food Comedy Contest, we had a challenge.
Yeah.
And we had to put together, we were given 5 themes. And then I think I remember, was it mine I'd taken superhero.
Yeah.
I had to talk about superhero and I had to make jokes about superheroes.
Yeah.
And I remember making jokes about a Kalanga superhero.
Yeah.
You know, so, you know, that whole concept also came about. And now you see how that comes about is also maybe if you have a challenge. If you give me a challenge right now and say, okay, dude, write a joke about this.
Yeah.
I'd have to sit down and extrapolate, see how I can, you know, just push ideas out of this thing. Okay, sharp, what's funny? What seems to be funny here? Okay, what can I extend on? Sharp. And all of that now, I take it, I see how I can link it up, lace it up by any other ideas that I've left within the tree that I can bring onto this idea. Okay, it can be developed. Now, I then develop it. Now, I have to go try it out. You can't just write a joke and not try it out.
Yeah.
You know, I have to go try it out. Either I try it out with my friends, but you know, I'm a comedian. So I'll try it out at maybe a comedy club that we have. You know, if we have a small little comedy show, I can go there. We do it. I see what works, what doesn't work. Go rework it again until maybe at such a point where I can even perform it internationally.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so yeah. But it takes preparation. It takes writing. It takes you know, your creative juices really flowing, and your mind just being also in the positive. You know.
All right. No, I get you, like the whole conceptualization thing and stuff like that. But now there's execution. Earlier on, we spoke about skit comedians. Like, that's another form of execution.
Yeah.
But us as creatives, are we executing enough? Like, are we utilizing the social media to execute the product? Because we're always complaining saying that BTV doesn't play our stuff.
Yeah, you know, I mean, I understand, which is something that's really understandable. Everybody wants to be paid by your BTVs so that they can, you know, get like for their works, you know.
Yeah.
But I think other people forget that social media platforms can also be just used as a marketing tool. Just so if you put enough content out there, people will see what you're about.
Yeah.
And then now when they want to buy, and you tell them, no, it's actually at a price. You know, you can't just get my works for free.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm saying, it's, for example, I'll give you an example with maybe say Mjamaica.
Yeah.
Jamaica, he does his skits, very fun skits, it's just his personal things. And then he says, oh, I want you to put my brand on your thing.
Yeah.
On your thing. So yeah, it's going to cost you money though. Again. Now, people wouldn't have known about Mjamaica if he hadn't put out that video. So the more people put their stuff out there, the more, you know, the opportunities can come through for people to sort of, you know, be able to use.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think essentially that's it. People need to also try to just use your, like, marketing is a skill as well, and we need to know it. If you can't do it alone, find somebody who can help you do it.
Yeah.
You know, like, partner with somebody. Tell them, yo, my dog, sharp. This partner here, he'll teach me how to handle my social media, and then if there's any revenue from what we do, I'll put you on. You know, like, now people fear networking, fear the fear owing people something. They don't want to owe anyone nothing. They don't know, I owe this guy, or rather this guy, I might just do this thing for him for free, and then next time when he starts making money, he's not gonna pay me. You know, that's where the fear normally is. Okay. But yeah.
Okay. All right. So now, like, we've been talking about comedy a lot.
Yeah.
Like, you do other things, and you're all spoken, by the way. Why are you not on radio, bro?
Why am I not watching?
On radio.
This is good.
True question.
Thank you for the compliment. Well spoken. I like that.
And a lot of people didn't know that you speak English quite well.
They don't know. They just think I speak Kalanga. Hey, thank you for that, my dog. So because of the work that I do, you know, I travel quite a lot.
Yeah.
I think radio, if I was ever to do radio, I'll need it to be like maybe a midweek show. Very like dead in the middle of the week.
Yeah.
Because you find that mostly my weekends I'm very busy. Either I'm doing, you know, live activations, you know, rather product activations, promotions or whatever. Or I'm traveling, doing shows. So, you know, it's very hard for me to then keep a radio show. Because I remember I had a radio show some time ago where you know, it was on Fridays. I was working with a very beautiful lady by the name of Well, that's a radio name. She got married now. I forgot her new name. Kumo something. I saw it on her LinkedIn the other day. But and you know the challenge was that I couldn't do it because of that. You know. Because I sometimes I'd be out of town, and now the consistency just goes down a bit. So I mean I'd definitely love to do radio, man. Radio is I think it's something that I really love. I mean, I'm also a voiceover artist, so that just means as well, I have the voice for radio. I have the face for radio.
Yeah. The face for radio.
The face for radio. But you know. But I think if I can find the right show, say maybe give me a show on a Wednesday afternoon type mission. On a Tuesday afternoon type mission, I would definitely be willing to do that. Man, I'll definitely
because of your schedule.
Because of my schedule, once a week even, not like every day. I can't do every day.
Because of your schedule, we can also offer you a slot on this podcast.
Definitely. No, I'll take the opportunity as long as you are paying, of course.
No, don't worry about that one.
Don't worry about the pay. Worry about it when the money's
when the money's here.
But no, definitely. I mean, if you need a host, you know, maybe if you need somebody to interview somebody, I'll be willing to have a conversation with somebody. That would be really dope. Like, I love that. I love that. But
you recently released a new track.
Yeah,
people didn't know that you sing.
I said the thing. No, dog, I'm not a singer. Like I was saying, I used to sing back in the day. Literally, but Nico Clap and Tap, and I was on fire. Amazing grace. I used to do that, right? So I've never looked at me doing music as anything commercial ever. Even when I was a dancer, we would do music for the performances as well. You know, I remember there was a time we did the backtracking for the I was doing vocals for that as well. So anywhere where I can exercise my voice, you know, I could have just know that I have it in my pocket. It's not something I've thought about commercializing. And so a few months ago, beginning of 2022, I get a hit up from a friend of mine, right? A guy called General, who used to be a part of a collective called Excalibur. A group of Christian rappers and singers who used to put together really great shows. I used to go to a show some time ago, right? So this guy now hits me up and says, "Yo, dog, Bambino, what's up?" "Yeah, I'm easy, General." I'm thinking he probably needs maybe like some voice working and this and this here and there. And I'm like, "Yeah, what up, my dog?" Or maybe MC somewhere. He's like, "Yeah, dog, I have this track that's coming out. I want you to jump on it." The first thing I say, "Dude, what do you mean? What kind of a track is this?" Like, he's like, no, it's a hip hop song. I'm like, dog, I don't even rap. You know, I've dabbled in poetry. I've done poetry. I used to host a show called Poet's Passport. Now, by virtue of me being the host, I needed to write some stuff as well, just so that I don't sound like you know, I don't belong. So I knew I could get away with a couple of rhymes. I could get away with a couple of harmonies, but I never considered my abilities for music rather to be that high, you know. The guy says, no. I'm like, you know what? Actually, let me try it out, dog. And then I jump onto this track. And the track is, first of all, I was so nervous. I was afraid to write the rhymes. I wrote the rhymes. The rhymes, I felt like they went right. I was like, you know what? Because now I learned that Chubb Heights, the Bundling King, he's on there. So I'm like, Bundling King, Chubb Heights is a god in the rap space. General is a beast in the rap space. So I can't do, like, dog, I'm literally just gonna embarrass myself. But I'm like, you know what? Knowing myself, I'll come up with something creative enough. So, I actually did that. I figured in humor, they can't beat me. So I wrote rhymes that are humorous. And then, this track is called Backyard Chillers. And apparently I'm given the brief that is to say, he gave me a brief about, it's like about this place where not everybody needs to come through, you know. It's the Backyard Chillers. You ain't gotta tell her about it, you know, it's just easy chill, it's just us. I dope. So now I then come up with the concept, okay, there's a guy who then shows up who shouldn't be here because he wasn't supposed to know we were here.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I'm just making fun of the guy. I named him Kokong, and I look Kokopong. Hakaba Rasahela, Rahamako Stopong, Oma Huda Moskopong, So I just figured those overly emphasized rhymes. Do those and just man, just have fun with it. And that's exactly what I did. And I remember I was recording in Lin's studio. Lin he used to be part of the Mahosi collective of rappers. Right now he's part of Jesus Inspired Kings. And so he's a rapper there and he's also a producer. He loved my work so much I was even shocked. I was like, me.
So we should expect an album from you soon.
Not in the slightest, my dog. Not in the slightest. Probably maybe you could expect maybe just some projects. Like not projects, like maybe like singles. Not from me even.
Feature
maybe
me.
Somebody will just feature me. I don't think I'm a musician enough to release anything on my own. Or to release something or maybe we'll see in the future. I mean, Tallest Mo had
an album.
Was it even an album or was it singles or something?
No, he had an album.
He had a whole album.
And they featured
Pump
the Cheese Up.
The Cheese Up. I remember that. And you see, essentially, and it's crazy because I'd forgotten that Tallest Mo had actually done something like that.
Even Johnny Bull and Tricks.
They have a band called Sabawell.
An R&B band.
It's an R&B band called Sabawell. And whenever they don't rap,
they sing.
They just sing R&B.
Soulful R&B.
Soulful, dog. Literally, you guys should listen to this. It's the craziest things, and because the comedians just makes it worse. They talk about Boloi, they talk about so many things, dog, but in the most beautiful ways you can sing out of me.
So before we shut it down, also talking of your other gigs, I see you're getting a lot of corporate gigs as an MC and stuff like that.
Yes, sir.
How are you doing that, bro? How are you winning?
I think maybe it also speaks back to this well-spoken thing, well-spokenness thing that you just spoke about. That just means I'm able to entertain a wide range of people. You find that some corporates have international employees, or maybe it's people that are not from Botswana or that don't understand Setswana. Maybe that just speak English. So because I have that, I speak English, and I not only speak English, I also speak beautiful Setswana. I speak beautiful Kgalagadi.
You speak Kgalagadi?
Yeah, just a little bit though. But just for sure, here and there. And beautiful Kalanga as well, Galanga as well. I take pride in knowing and loving languages. I speak a bit of Zulu, so you're guaranteed that if you have a guest from South Africa who speaks Zulu, they'll be entertained if I'm part of the entertainment lineup. So I think because of that, I have sort of as well with the agencies, I've tried to make them aware of my skills so that when they're pitching to the major corporates, to the major corporates, the big companies that they service, they can then say, oh, but we have a guy here who's quite capable of doing this. And I think maybe the word then spreads, and I make sure, in showbiz we normally say you're only as good as your last show. So you always have to make sure that every show that you do is top tier. Every show performance that you do is high level, I remember, I'll give you an example. When I was doing the Soul Food Comedy Contest in 2014, I got there, and this joke that I was doing, one of the 4 types of Kalanga. I remember arriving and thinking to myself, this joke is way too fire for this audience. And there's an audience of less than 10 people. I'm like, I'm gonna waste this joke here. I'm gonna waste this joke. And I hit up one of my friends, who's my mentor, comedy mentor. He's like, I'm like, Mod, his name is Mod Mudir Gisabit. I'm like, Mod, I have this fire joke, dog, but I don't know if this audience is ready for such a big joke. And he's like, dude, kill that joke. And I got there, and that 7, 8 numbered audience died, was on the floor.
Yeah.
And he's like, nah, now you know that next week you need to write a better one.
Yeah.
And so now you keep improving, So I've always known that whenever a client says, I need these services from you, I give it my all. I give it my energy and everything. You will get the best. You'll get even expert advice, consultation from my end as well to say, yo, dog, what normally works is this, just so that you know. If you don't want it, that's still fine. Just know that I will do everything to the best of my ability to just satisfy you.
Yeah, yeah.
And it has worked for me, organizations I've worked with F&B. I've actually been doing a campaign, still doing it currently with them right now. I've worked with your BTCs, all the mobile networks. I think I'm the only person, I don't think I should be admitting this, but I'll just say is
breaking rights. Proud. Breaking rights.
Because I'm proud.
Yeah.
I'm the only person who has been in 3
telcos.
Yeah, all 3 of them.
Yeah.
In Botswana.
Yeah.
In the commercials.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've done one for Mascom Top 8. I've done one for Paranese. I've done one for BTCs.
Yeah.
But and my thing is, it's because I'll give it my all,
Yeah.
Like I'll give it my, and even in all those performances, it's 3 different human beings that you wouldn't even be able to tell it's still the same person.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the character still lives on.
The character still
lives on.
Okay, does the number of people in the audience boost or kill your confidence?
It used to kill my confidence, until I started hosting my own comedy nights. I used to have a comedy night at Capello every Wednesday, at a restaurant by CBD.
Yeah.
And I used to, I'd get there and find there's only 4 people in the audience.
Yeah.
That would be devastating because at the end of the day, I need this venue place to pay me. I need this to happen. There's a whole sound guy who came through, but there's only 4 people in the audience. So it used to devastate me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Until I figured that, the show must go on.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
Yeah.
And so I figured, I have to make the show go on. I have to make sure that even the 4 that are here feel like they are part of a huge show.
Yeah.
So ever since then, I think I learned the hard way. I just went through it and learned that, the size of the audience shouldn't determine. How do you say that?
Yeah.
Shouldn't determine English. Hold me by the throat. Shouldn't determine how your performance should be. Just give your best performance at all times, whether small or big audience. But you find that, of course, when there's more audience, so there's a bigger audience. It somewhat boosts your confidence as well.
Yeah.
But it's also freaky because the last thing you want is to bomb with 10,000 people in front of you.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the last thing you ever want to do. And fortunately for me, it hasn't happened yet, and I don't think it's ever gonna happen.
Have you ever died on the stage?
Many times, bruh. Many times.